first gear pull, second gear pull, oh, third gear pull, all the way. Oh man.
Like, I see all those Paganis. I want to get a Pagani. I want to, want a Chiron soon, right?
So guys, today's video is going to be pretty personal because a lot of people kind of ask me how I have access to drive all these different types of cars. And today we're actually going to be shooting and driving some cars with the car collector that got me started into all of this. So today, we're going to talk about how it all started. We're going to drive some pretty sick cars. But yeah, make sure you stay tuned because it's going to be a pretty good video. So we are pulling up to Aman's house, which honestly is a huge house now. It's cool that when I met him, I had like a Volvo C30. His like top car was a Ferrari 48, and we both kind of, moved up quite a lot. But now, big house with a big gate, and there's some crazy cars in the garage, and we're about to go in. And time to go in. You can already see his daily driver M3 over there. It's a manual 2024, which is pretty rare nowadays, but what a cool house. And these garages right here have some really cool stuff in them. Before we show Aman in the video, I'm going to go move the cars out. The cars we're going to be driving are the 4GT and the SVJ, so I'm just going to pull them out. And of course, the door that goes up, got to be a little careful. And it is such a tight interior on this. Okay, so gotta just push the start button. Starts right up. Cool thing is nothing here really is like any other Ford. So we just have to spin this into drive and we're good to go. I have not driven one of these in many, many years, but now we're out in it, and I'm gonna leave it here for now before we go for a drive. Now I'm gonna go pull out the SVJ. Now I've driven a lot of Aventadors before, never driven an SVJ. This R8 will drive another time. It's twin turbo, like 1200 horsepower, but right now we're gonna deal with the big cars, and I kind of talked a lot of smack about the SVJs when I did my Senna video, so today we're gonna find out if I am wrong. But typical Aventador interior that we're used to, obviously more aggressive carbon fiber doors because it is the SVJ, but flip this open, press it, and the car starts up. And you know what? That is something you don't get in the Senna. That V12 sound is just crazy. But man, the interior is freaking awesome. We just set off the alarm on the Cullinen with a cold start in the SVJ. But yeah, let's pull this thing out. And you see the daily driver manual 2024 M3 next to my GT4. And we have the 4GT already lined up there. Let's see if we can park them somewhere that might look good for a photo. Okay, so we've probably been driving cars together for like, I think, since probably like since I was 17. We always go in like two supercars.
Does everyone know how old you are?
Well, I'm 26 now, but I think I met you when I was like 15.
Yeah.
You're the reason I started driving supercars when I was like 17. I used to daily drive Huracans, Rolls Royces. Like it was crazy, and it's all because of him. So now, anybody who trusts me with any cars that you guys see on my channel, because they saw him trust me first. So like, this man literally got me to where I am today. I don't think I would have the GT4 or anything like that without him. But I think back then we would go in like Huracans and you drive the 48, and we'd always go in that level of car. Yeah. I think it's nice that like I got an upgrade for my car, you have upgrades to your cars. Yeah. And we're doing this. Yeah, we're doing this on a bigger level today. So I think you're gonna drive the 4GT. I'm gonna drive the
whichever
SVJ.
You pick. It's all you.
Normally I would drive the more expensive car, but I haven't driven an SVJ before, surprisingly. So I'll take the SVJ because I did talk a lot of smack about it in the Senna video, which you called me out on.
But the Senna, no, Senna's a crazy car, in my opinion. And you were right, though, because a lot of people don't understand it's all about the time and point that you bought it. Yeah. A lot of people did buy the SVJs at a crazy high point. Yeah. At that time, yeah, a lot of people did make a mistake. They should have got into the Senna, but we can talk about that more after. But I really, like, Senna's a car I really want to add as well. Yeah. When we come across the right spec, we'll do it too. But you're right, Senna is a crazy car. But for comparable sake, you've driven the GT before. Yeah. SVJ, give your honest input. It's a car that's far less MSRP than the Sennas. Yeah. But only this will tell after you drive it and see. So
let's go for a little drive, and then we'll switch after that. From the Senna to the SVJ. The one thing I gotta say, the sound here is like unbelievable. You don't get that in the Senna. Oh, and we're following the 4GT. Look at that view out of this car. The last week has just been like a craziness of $1 million cars, 4GT, SVJ, McLaren Senna. It's a different animal. This is a different animal. This is an Aventador on steroids. That car's a race car. I don't know if I would necessarily say, one is better than the other. I think for me, the Senna was so much more car. But the V12, oh my God, the V12. this gearbox is the best and worst thing to happen to Lamborghinis in ever. I mean, it's weird because when you drive a Huracan, it's better. Like it's significantly better that the car just shifts so well, but it kind of loses the excitement of a Lamborghini. A Lamborghini is supposed to be violent, and that's kind of what this gearbox does. It's violent, and it gives it character, but it's not good as a functional track car. But when you get a V12 and you get a violent gear shift, it is an experience. It is definitely an experience, but it doesn't feel as meant to drive fast as the Senna did. All you want to do in the Senna is drive fast. This, you can just drive normally, but it's a different smile on your face that it puts. This is so much more about the noise. Like, let's downshift a few gears. Oh my God. Like, yeah, I get it. I get it. This car is great. Like, I'm not gonna say you're stupid for buying one of these. It just, this is a very, very good supercar. It's such a good supercar. But the McLaren Senna is a hypercar. It's a different level. This, though, you can drive this more often than you can drive McLaren Senna. That car is so low. It's so, like, rough. This is comfortable. Honestly, it's pretty comfortable. But that car is just like, it's pure race car. So, like, I get why there's the two different things. And honestly, a lot of people that have one have both. Also, look at that view with the 4GT. Oh my God. And that's a carbon series with the carbon wheels. Or in the SVJ. Days don't get much better than this. Oh, V12 in our control. Man, oh man, what a day. And then after we drive this, we're gonna go drive that. But what a mean car. This is the last, really, like the ultimate technically is, but this is the last hurrah of NA V12s, non-hybrids. This is as crazy as we're gonna get in a car, as obnoxious as we're gonna get in a car from here on out. Everything from now on, it's gonna be cars that are a lot more calculated, a lot more efficient, just straight to the point of going fast rather than give you this whole big show on your way to try to go fast. I mean, look at the view here. We got Ethan doing homework in the SVJ, but we also have a 4GT in front of us while we're in the SVJ. Guys, the last 2 weeks have been great. I always tell you that end of the season is when everything happens. And like every year, it doesn't disappoint. And also, guys, Aman is the one that pushed me to make a YouTube channel. And now he's finally following his own advice and he's making his own YouTube channel. And he's got some crazy cars. These cars are not his only cars. He's got a bunch of like crazy weird things, like even like a Maybach 62 and just like awesome stuff. So make sure to subscribe to him because honestly, as much as I can come visit him and drive his cars, he just will drive them every day and he actually drives his cars. There's gonna be some awesome content. He knows everybody with nice cars. He does a lot of cool stuff. Make sure to subscribe to Aman's channel. Okay, so guys, like the other thing again, I was saying that I started this all with Aman. So when I was 17, you know, I didn't drive any cool cars, but he was the first person. I think he let me drive a Gallardo at the time. And ever since then, my life changed. You know, I met him probably when I was like 15. I was just a car photographer. If I would have started filming YouTube videos when I started hanging out with him, I would have been famous by now. But better start at some point. But the cool thing is, you know, as much as I drive all these cool cars all the time, and it almost became a little bit normal to me, it's cool to do it with him because I gotta say, like, if it wasn't for Aman, I don't think I would have any of the stuff I have now. I wouldn't know any of the people I know now. Like, I just would not be at this spot, and I understand how lucky I am to get to drive all these cars. I'm not a rich guy whatsoever. I just kind of make the most of the opportunities that I can get. And the opportunity that got me through the door to be where I am today was because of that man right there. That guy changed my life, and I'll forever be thankful for him. I'll forever like remember everything he's done for me, even to this day. You know, I worked for him probably when I was like 18, and again, I used to drive supercars every day. It became just normal to me. But you know, now I'm 26 and I still keep in touch with him. I talk to him a few times a week. Aman is honestly like the best guy. I like literally checks up on me, just make sure my YouTube's doing well, make sure everything's doing well. And I think no matter what success I'm gonna have come out of this YouTube channel, it's all gonna be thanks to that man. He always gives me ideas, always gives me like ways that I could potentially do better or get further in life. And yeah, I mean, I am so grateful for him, and it's awesome that we're still together driving cool cars, and his cars are big time upgraded. and now we're driving an SVJ, and soon we're going to be driving a Ford GT. Yeah, we just did a lunch break with the Ford GT and the SVJ at A&W, so definitely not the spot you'd normally expect to see these cars, but right now we finished with the SVJ. SVJ was awesome, but I haven't driven a Ford GT in like 3 years, and I remember loving it last time I drove it, so we're gonna go drive the Carbon Series. I haven't driven a Carbon Series before. We're gonna go on a little drive, see what it's like, and then after that, we're gonna go sit down, talk with Aman. You know, he's a very successful guy. Honestly, one of the people that taught me the most in the world, and I think he has some very valuable information to give. We're gonna go hop in his manual 2024 M3, and we're just gonna talk about cars, about life, about everything, see what the M3 is like as well. So Aman's gonna get in the SVJ, and now it's our turn in the Ford GT. This is definitely more of a race car. I mean, it's so hard to get in. Let's squeeze into here. Now, this is very much like a LaFerrari where the seats don't move. If you want to move anything, you move the pedals and the steering wheel, but the seats have to stay kind of where they are for the lower center of gravity. Closing the door, and let's start it up. Definitely you don't get that V12 in this, but this thing is a different driving experience. So we're in the Ford GT right now. I haven't driven one of these in a while. You hear a lot of turbo noise, a lot. And it just feels like, I want to say tighter, more put together. That car is just like so much going on. This is just like, the engineers are right. The budget was not small on this. Everything works so well. These cars are reliable and they're just good, and you can feel it. It's very well put together, and as much as it's a Ford, there aren't really any Ford parts on here. There's just like the lights, the windows, the locks, like stuff like that. Other than that, nothing else here is shared with any other Fords. Even the paddle shifters, that kind of look like GT500 paddle shifters are not GT500 paddle shifters. They're a different material. It's kind of like a Ferrari as well, where everything's on the steering wheel. You have no stalks behind the wheel. You have like the indicator buttons, the modes, everything is just right here. Keep it purpose built. But man, like that dual clutch, it's already the biggest difference in the car. Like it's very like light gear changes. You can downshift like this. There's no violence, because this is at the end of the day a race car that was kind of converted to be a road car, rather than a road car that was meant to be kind of like a hardcore track car, or you know, in general, is built for the road. This is something that's supposed to be really good for performance, rather than just like the excitement of a supercar and a show-off cars. As much as this car has a crazy presence, this thing is like really purpose built. But this thing is about 120 horsepower shy of the SVJ, but oh man, like it doesn't feel slow. It just doesn't. And as much as rear wheel drive, and that's all wheel drive, if anything, this thing feels more steady. Like here, second gear pull. And today, it is a nice day today. Like it's very weird for November, but the car grips, the car hooks, you know, second gear pulls. You don't have to be careful that you might lose control of the car. Yeah, I mean, instant gear changes. This is just a good car. Everything about it is just so solid, and it just works so well. But the excitement is not like the SVJ, like I said. Hold on. Oh, SVJ is like a huge event. There's the noise, there's the violence, there's everything. This doesn't have that. This is just like, it's like a McLaren, or it's like a good Porsche. Like everything just works. You know, instant gear changes. You want to do a pull? No problem. Do a pull. The car just rewards you for it. It lets you do it. Like it's incredible. It just works so well. And honestly, let's say I get it up to 7th gear. Right now we're just chilling. Car's quiet. Car's comfortable. You know, I got a leather steering wheel. Got nice seats. As much as they don't move, they are very, very nice. Like this car is just, it can do everything. I think the presence of it maybe makes it hard to daily drive. The fact that there's literally nowhere to put any storage other than like a tiny trunk in the back is a little inconvenient. But you know, driving around town, you want to go somewhere, you want to sit in traffic, like you'll be okay. Like I do understand how Shmi 150 can drive this across country. It's not uncomfortable. And also once you're in here, it's kind of spacious. It's a little tight to get in and out, but once you're in here, you're a little closer to your passenger, but you're doing okay. Like I can be in this all day long. Like everything is just nice. The visibility, surprisingly, is not bad. There's huge mirrors. I can kind of see beyond the wing in the back. You can put the wing down there, you can clearly see. It's just a more practical car than the SVJ. I think it looks better than the SVJ. SVJ has obviously got the V12 and it's very exciting, but oh, they're all so different. I mean, I was kind of saying before, like McLaren Senna is like as crazy as you can get performance-wise. Like, don't worry so much about being exciting or being like loud or anything like that. Senna is the best for just blow your mind fast. SVJ is not so much blow your mind fast, but it is a lot of just kind of excitement and an experience and the sound and everything where it doesn't feel like a regular car. This thing sits perfectly in between where you kind of still get the excitement, you get the turbo noises and everything. Here, first gear pull, second gear pull, oh, third gear pull, all the way. Oh man, you still get that excitement is what I'm saying, but it doesn't want to kill you, and it works. The gearbox is incredible. Like, it rewards you for driving fast. You don't feel scared. You just feel like this car is meant to be pushed. You feel like this car is supposed to be driven at high speeds at all times, and that's where it's comfortable. Because this car is so comfortable when you just push it. You have the little lights that lit up here earlier. I mean, this is a race car that they made comfortable. It's not just a big, loud thing like the SVJ, which the SVJ is a lot of fun, but as a car, as a race car, this thing is awesome. This thing is incredible. The turbo noises, the blow-off valves, but then I can hear over that, I can hear the V12 in front of us. And honestly, I don't regret that I'm in the turbocharged 6-cylinder. I just don't. I just don't regret it. This thing is so freaking awesome. This is a hypercar. It's not a supercar. Oh, the blow-off valves. And you just feel everything, and you look behind you, you see so much car. This thing is incredible. Oh my God. Guys, I know everybody, especially me in the beginning, was saying that the manual 4GTs are like a better value because they're manual, and this is automatic, and that was a V8 and this is a V6. I'm the biggest manual car advocate. I love V8s. Not the same. That one was like a muscle car that became a supercar. This is just a straight up hypercar. Look. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is exactly where I want to be right now. I don't know if there's another car I'd want to drive right now. This is it. Oh. SVJ is cool, but it's not a 4GT. This is awesome. Every time I drive one, I re-see the value in them, and that is exactly what's going on right now. Now we're pulling back up to Aman's house. Now don't click off the video because we're gonna go in the manual M3, which I know is not a hypercar, but I know a lot of you guys still do like it. But it's gonna be a pretty interesting conversation because I feel like most people that own these types of cars don't really like being on video. Aman is very open to it, so it's gonna be a very interesting conversation. And I think we have a lot to talk about. We know each other very well, and just kind of the progression of how he got to where he is today is just something, that's really good to hear about. So right now we're in Aman's daily driver, the M3 in a manual, which I don't think many of them are. Probably a very small percentage of the ones you're gonna see on the road are manual. We'll get to that in a bit. But before we do, Aman is somebody that kind of pushed me to do more and more social media stuff, especially YouTube, TikTok, all that stuff. I mean, Aman used to literally call me like for half an hour at a time, talking to me about that. And finally he took his own advice and he's also doing it himself. So again, I'm going to link his YouTube channel in the bio. Make sure to check it out because as much as I can drive other people's cars, it's going to be cool to see from a perspective of somebody that owns these cars. And it's a very big variety of cars, from a 4GT to an SVJ to a Turbo R8. We're going to go see his crazy GTR as well, to like a manual M3. I mean, it's just like real car enthusiast cars. It's not necessarily just the flashiest things. But me and Aman go way, 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 way back. So like, I started my kind of car journey when I was like 15 years old, and Aman ran North Face Rally, and I remember they hosted one event, and I went there, and ever since then I met him. But like, it was a big upgrade because back then I think you had what, just the red GTR?
I had it was the red GTR. It was just full bolt-on, and we had a flying spur back then.
Yeah, the white one. Yeah, and again, back then to me that was the craziest thing in the world. Like, and also back then I think you were younger than I am now. I think you were like 24 at the time.
I was so actually I think the first it all started with like that red GTR. Actually, how far do we want to go back?
I mean, let's go like 2015, 16, kind of when the North Face Rally stuff started.
So around 2015, if we go, I'm just trying to think when I got the GTR in 2012.
Yeah.
And I had a few different GTRs, but the one that Roy's talking about, that one, I had it in 2012. I started, it was me and a few other guys like Anthony Andretti and a few other guys.
Yeah.
We started, actually, the whole idea was Anthony Andretti's back then. You remember Anthony?
Yeah, yeah.
And the whole idea was his. He's like, look, I'm going to do a rally. And we all came together, a few guys, and we started putting the rally together. And we pretty much, we did the rallies. We grew a big, strong, at that time, group and following. We had almost around 300 plus members. Even today, we're still around that 300 member mark. But from there is when we really actually started growing. And Roy, you were at the time, when you started working for us.
Yeah.
We used to have an experience company. So these are obviously all my personal cars. Yeah. They're nothing to do with any of the company stuff. But at that time, we used to have a whole different set of cars. And we're talking like 458. We had like Huracans. We had a bunch of cars.
And people trust me, I think, because of the cars. Because back then, when I was 17, 18 years old. Yeah. And I remember I used to almost every night I would drive the Huracan home or drive the Ghost home. I was daily driving these cars at the time because whatever I had to do with them the next day. Yeah. I lived far away from the office. It just made sense for me to take the cars home.
Yeah, exactly. So we had two sides of our business. One was the experience base, which was me and my brother-in-law, Gabir. Yeah. And then we had our other side of the business, which was our transportation, which is the larger coach buses and limos and all that stuff, which have been in for about 15 years, which me, my younger brother, Gary, and then our partner, Nash, we all three run that side as well. And we had Roy, of course, that time take on majority of the responsibility of the experience side of the business, which was those exotic cars. We had a lot of fun back then. We did a lot of those street experiences, test drives. We did track days. It was a good business in the beginning, but I wouldn't say it's something I would ever recommend anyone to get into.
I think that's the big kind of result of everybody trying to do that. I mean, now if you look at everybody talking about it, anybody who's had that business kind of says stay away from it, especially for insurance purposes and liability purposes.
Lot, yeah. We took a big hit on that in that side of the business. We took a multi-seven-figure loss in that business. But in everything, there's times you make money, lose money. It's just it's a world of obviously entrepreneurship. We had over 30 exotic cars at that point. Yeah. And we had a lot of I can't say bad customers, but a lot of incidents. Yeah. Customers totaling cars, damaging cars, blowing up, transmissions, motors. But we had 8 cars written off. We had a lot of issues. But the sad reality is there wasn't any accountability for it. When someone's taking a vehicle for the use of a day, they're trying to get the maximum use out of it. For someone like us, we love cars. Yeah. And I think that was the problem, is this was a passion-driven business, but that passion doesn't pass on to everyone. Yeah. Somebody that may take it for the day, they want to get the most out of that vehicle for the day. So that was the problem, is nobody really respected the cars. There was no way to obviously monitor that. You can't be with them 24/7. And that's why, it was a hard lesson learned that passion and business had to be separated. That's why, now that business has been shut down for 4 years plus. Anything obviously I have now, they're all my personal cars. They're not used for any other purpose.
So I actually wanted to ask you that, because again, we're still very close. We still talk all the time. Yeah. Back then we literally saw each other every day. Yeah. When that company closed, it was, obviously that all ended, and then suddenly you started buying these very high-end cars. Before, your flagship car would be like a 48. Yep. Now you have a Ford GT and SVJ, and I know you're looking for more. Yeah. What kind of happened between the closing of that company to you starting that?
So when we moved out of that business, one was we started scaling the other side of our business. We learned obviously where we had to put the attention. It's not the particular business, it was a particular niche of the business that we put a lot of attention into. We grew that. A lot of people actually don't know is, like anything, like everyone, you have multiple different sources of income, right? You know this, Roy, because you deal with me on a regular basis, but I actually do high-end automotive leasing. Yeah. So third-party leasing, that's what I specialize in. I've done a lot of leases for a lot of the people in our group. Yeah. That's always been my bread and butter. So doing the automotive leases for pretty much anyone, ranging from whether it's $100,000 car or a multi-million-dollar car, that's my main focus. But it's been more, I would say, I've never really advertised or publicized it because it's not something I've ever needed to do. I have a lot of repeat business. A lot of the individuals that do get, a lot of the guys in our group that have the cars, I take care of it for them. Then we have our, again, the business, which is our passenger transportation business. I've been in it for 15 years. Like every industry, the more you scale it, the more outcome. Ultimately, it doesn't really, so sometimes people think, why is the other person not doing as well as you in this industry? The difference is I've been in it for 15 years. Logically, any business you're in, if you're able to scale it, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Yeah.
If you can scale with time, every single thing will make you money. It's not necessary to say that only a industry makes money. Every industry makes money if you put the time and effort into it. So with that line of the business, it did well for us because, again, we picked up the niche, we picked up the area we had to focus on, where we had to make the most changes and grow the most in. So we did scale very large on that side of the business. When we moved out of the experience-based side, we learned that we were wasting a lot of time and energy on something that was all passion-driven. It's not what you like. At the end of the day, it's what makes you money. The experience company was holding us back from that. Obviously, gave us the time to focus on more things. And again, just like everyone else, there's more multiple streams. So automotive leasing is what I do. Our obviously passenger transportation business. Other thing also is at one point we had a few cottages. We were doing Airbnb. The market was good on it. We still hold those properties. Actively invest in real estate, buy and sell real estate. And I never was ever a believer in crypto until about the last year. I've been in and out of some of the stuff. Yeah. But I would say till today, the biggest mistake I ever made was not believing in it. Got into it very late. The gains aren't substantial like people have seen over the decade, but I do that as well. But my main bread and butter is automotive leasing. That's where everyone wonders, what is it that really this guy does, right? And really and truly, what again it comes back down to is volume and scalability. If you pick something you're good at, something you do like, you don't do necessarily for the sake of doing it because you like it. Like, okay, yeah, I love cars, but I'm not doing a dealership. I'm not buying and selling cars because that would be a passion-driven side of it. I'm doing the finance side of it, right? Yeah. If I was more about that passion side, I 100% would be on the side of with the dealership buying and selling. But that's not something I want to get into. It's not. I already have enough going on. I'm happy with what I do day to day, and it's a little bit boring on the funding leasing side of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's what makes me be able to makes you the money, and it makes me be able to, of course, do the things I do. But the other thing is sometimes you deal with a lot where people have criticism. They have, at the end of the day, I don't mean this with no disrespect to no one, but people always have their rumors, theories of whatever. There's been since I was actually younger about my sister winning the lottery, right? Yeah. There's no record of that. That never happened, right? Yeah. It's just I started working when I was 13. I used to do car audio installs. When I was 16, I started working full time and going to school. So I did go finish school. I went to college, and I've always lived by one thing, which is work. Balance your personal life and work, but at that point in time of life, all I wanted to do was work, make money. When I was 18 years old, and that's why I was saying I've done pretty much everything. When I was 18 years old, because I was working 2 years full time from 16, 17, 18, 3 years, sorry. Yeah. Before I turned 19, I had bought my first condo in Square One as an investment, rented it out. Second one when I was 19, and third one when I was pretty much 20. Sold those, I bought a commercial unit, sold the commercial unit, took all that money out. And by the time I was pretty much 21 was when I started our transportation business. Yeah. Put that in, I'm 33, turning 34 now, right? Before that, I was actually, the reason I was saying 15 years, when I was 18, I did try some more of a middleman kind of basis, take some work, brokering the work, passing it around. I always tried things. It's the same as what everyone does, right? They try to see if something works. A few years tried it, got a hang of it, and then I actually went in and started doing it. And that's when it was around the 21 mark is when I started that business. And I at that point started continuing to evolve and scale that business. Along the way, we did try and get into that experience side of the business. It didn't really go the way we wanted it to go, and we got out of it. So you win some, you lose some, not a big deal, right? We took the loss, we moved on. Along the way, the number one thing, though, I will always say is I didn't do anything myself. People, I've never said once that I've done anything, on my own entirely. Family, friends, always there to support, always there all around. If my family and friends, you do need a good support system. You do need a good structure. You do need, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I got help, right? Yeah. If you have family and friends that are supportive and there to help you, why would you not use I would never call it a resource, but why would you not use the assistance that they are able to do for you?
So that's actually a big thing for me, right? Like, obviously I'm driving all these cars because people are helping me, and I know with the network that I've built and with everything that I've done with people I've met, especially people like you, I don't really ever have to worry about my future. I'm not rich at all right now, but I know eventually opportunities will keep coming up, and I kind of learned that from you because you just never know. All you got to do, regardless of what happens, is you got to get up every day. You got to go do whatever it is, and eventually you're going to be with the people that are in your life and are very involved. And, one person might have some opportunity for you here. The other person might have some opportunity there. You might have something to offer a person one day, and they might be able to repay you with a crazy opportunity the next day. You just never know. And again, it's the people that are helping you. Nothing is going to get done in life by yourself. As much as you're kind of doing it on your own and it's you initiating it, you can't take over the world. You can't do all this stuff without other people. It's not going to happen from your room.
And there's no, again, not really I don't like talking about it, but sometimes people are like, oh, mommy, daddy's money. But at the end of the day, I get from everyone's perspective, but at the end of the day, if they weren't doing something for their kids, they'd still be a problem. Yeah. Right? If they are doing something for their kids, it's still a problem. It's always, society will always find something to try and throw someone down. At the end of the day, what I personally believe is, if you were able to build something, why would you not do it for your kids? Yeah. If, when sometimes, oh, mommy, daddy's money, well, what's wrong with that? Yeah. Right? At the end of the day, if you have that support system, in this case, honestly, we didn't have anything. We started off, obviously small, built. I don't ever, sometimes when people are like, oh, you're this, you're that, you have money, you're rich. I'm like, no, I'm pretty much the same as every other person out there. I put in the work, and I'm just like everyone else. I watch videos on TikTok, YouTube, everything, trying to see, I see all those Paganis. I want to get a Pagani. I want a Chiron soon, right? For every I guess level in life, everyone wants more. But at the end of the day, it's the work and time that you're going to put in to try to get there. If you have a goal, you set a goal, just work towards it. That's it. I didn't think I'd be, never thought I'd have a GT, an SVJ, all those cars, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, I appreciate everything. I'm thankful. Nothing's promised to you ever. The same way, I'm a big believer that what's given to you can be taken just as fast. So appreciate every single thing, always. And I'm extremely thankful and fortunate, and always, sometimes you think to yourself, how do you get here, right? But then you kind of forget about the effort and time and pretty much work that you put in to do it. But the reality is, I went through a lot. It wasn't. Sometimes people will look and they'll be like, oh, this guy just got this, and everyone wants to try to make it overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. Literally, again, there's a lot that took place to get here, because people will never see what you really went through. All you're going to see is the cars, the glamour, whatever, right? But you'll never actually see what someone really went through to get to that point. And there's always going to be people trying to throw shade at you. There's always going to be some nonsense, but that's just part of it, right? Reality. The more you obtain, the more it's going to hurt someone, right? They're going to be there, try to bring you down. You just got to live with it. That's what it is. But you're saying, sorry, Roy? Okay.
Yeah. So pretty much, I know for me, again, you met me when I literally had nothing. I had this 2011 Volvo, and that's all I had, and it was my dream to do that. And I do listen to a lot of advice from you, and I think it's a big part of how I got a GT4 now. It's a big part of kind of everything I'm doing now. I'm kind of seeing that the world is out there, the world's possible, and I know no matter what happens to me in life, I'm just okay, I stay focused on the fact, no matter how much everything sucks, I stay focused on the fact that there's a goal out there and you got to get it, and there's a way to get it. There's always a way around anything, and I kind of feel like I learned a lot of that from you, because again, you were a younger guy that I was around that really made it possible and really like showed me like, damn, you can build a ton just on your own and you can really do a lot, and there's a lot of potential in life, and you're not restricted to anything by where you were born or who your parents are or anything like that. There's always a way to achieve it. And what's your advice for someone that is kind of looking to buy their first serious car, their first exotic, or just kind of get into that world?
Yeah, so with obviously there's always a shift in cars or something new. So obviously it's hard to say if you are looking at something more modern and saying, okay, maybe I want this in 5 years, right? It all vary. Let's just use anything as an example. The number one thing I would say is map out where you want to be. You can't get somewhere if you don't know where you want to be. That's the number one thing. If you have a goal in 5 years, I want to be whatever point, you set that goal. Work backwards. How are you getting there? What do you have to do? Which milestones do you have to achieve to get there? Reality is, a lot of people are like, oh, what do I do? Well, that's the problem. If you don't know what, it's not obviously what to do. It's again, how are you going to get there? Make a plan. Work backwards. Map it out. Set those deadlines. Set those goals. You will find a way. It's like that. You know that one quote. I love that one quote where they say, if you give yourself 3 months to clean your room, you will take 3 months to clean it. If you give yourself 3 hours, you'll find a way to clean it in those 3 hours. If you really pressure yourself and set those goals, you will find a way to do it. And as far as like what I was saying before with the industry, there's so many industries. I mean, everything makes money. But the number one thing is the time, the volume, scalability. The more time you're going to put in, the more effort it will show. A lot of times people will spend a couple of years doing something. Right when they're at the point of it actually working for them and taking off, you look at it as a compounding factor. They might just be at that point where the next year was going to double up for them. But before that, they start paying attention to the next guy and saying, hey, this person is doing a lot better than I'm doing in my industry. Maybe I need to change what I'm doing. But if they just took that time to spend that extra year and really put that push in, they will make the money. There's headaches in every business. There's no such thing, I would say, as a stress-free business. Every business has its own stress. It has its own problems. That's the reality of life, that you will deal with a lot of BS in business. But at the end of the day, it's how you handle it. If you're a good problem solver, if you can have the thick skin to get through it, the number one thing is always to stay calm, respectful, not even in business, but the number one thing is just even in day-to-day personal life is one strong thing I've always believed in since day one is respect every single person. Same as people say, respect someone the way you want to be respected, 100%. Show every single person. There's no such thing as somebody above or below. Everyone is always, it doesn't matter if, this guy's got this or that, or this person's got this or that. It does not matter. We're all human. Treat one another as human beings. The less you try to chase money, the more it naturally comes to you. And I hope this all makes sense.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know people do look at it as, but it's easy to say all these things, and it's 100% it is. After you've done everything, it's easier to say. It's not an easy process. But nothing's ever been easy in life. Something you want to achieve, you're going to have to put in the work. That's just a straightforward truth. If you want to try to become rich overnight, I don't know about that. Maybe it works for some people, maybe it doesn't. But it's not something, obviously, that like I'll ever look at. But from my perspective, is put in the work and it will pay off.
No, for sure, man. For sure. And yeah, again, that's why I appreciate everything that you've done, and especially done for me. I really see what you're saying it's not crap. It's not stuff to just kind of sound good, because I've been there, right? Like when I met you, I was 15. Why would you help me? But the amount of opportunities that I got because of you, and honestly, like I said it before, like I wish I would have started YouTube back then, because I was 17. Like, you covered my expenses on like 2 different rallies, all the way to Florida, to everything.
Yeah.
Gave me the opportunities, shot cars that things that went viral, things that kind of made people see me in a different way. And realistically, I would have never been able to get that without you actually lifting me up to do that. So that's why I know what you're saying is true. But that's why I still appreciate, to this day, I don't forget what you did for me. I don't forget the places that I am now are because that's where it started. The one thing for me, when I drive all these special cars, it might seem like I'm really used to it and I don't really care. But yes, I'm a little less excited with the car and the car's performance because I'm used to it. But I always sit and I'm like, damn, like 10 years ago, whatever it was, I was just a little kid that would be literally running after all these cars.
Yeah.
And now somehow my life has gone to the point where that's just my life. And it just shows me that for me, like hard work, whatever, everything you do, you keep doing it. I've been doing the same things for years and years and years, and it just keeps getting better and better.
The number one thing, like I could say, is as much as we may get immune to the cars and everything, there's one thing that we'll never get immune to is every time someone else sees a car, the excitement you see, like, you know, how happy it makes them.
Yeah.
And which is why I always like, and I obviously encourage every, owner of any high-end exotic car. Some people I know are a little more reserved, is the best way to put it. But, pass that joy on, right?
Yeah.
If we're fortunate enough to have the things that we do, and we have the, the capability of doing all these things, and you see someone standing there smiling, let them sit in the car, right? Let them enjoy it, because for me, the best feeling of owning these cars is when somebody, walks away smiling, comes in smiling, looking at the car smiling, and they leave there smiling, right? Like the individual there when he was like, "This is a dream."
And at the end of the day, for us, we just went for lunch. For him, he's gonna remember sitting in an SVJ, and if anything, that might spark something in him.
Yeah.
That's gonna lead him to do something greater in his life because he just got inspired. But for us, it's like, he sat in the car for a minute or two. Like, it's better to put that joy in somebody than us, for no reason, being like, no, like, you're not gonna sit in the car.
If you do good will come your way, right? Yeah. And I always believe in give before take.
Yeah.
You give and it will come, right? But that's really just everyone has their own beliefs and principles. But for me, I really believe that the more you can do for others, the more will come your way.
No, 100%. That was awesome, Aman. That's why I was really excited to do a video with you, because I know the type of person you are, and I know the advice you give me. So I knew for a video that's going to be incredible. And guys, right now we're going to go ahead to see the GTR before we finish the video. But right now, my first time driving a manual new M3.
Yeah.
Again, it's weird. It's so much fun. The manual is amazing, but it's so weird, I guess, for you as well, when you get so used to like these really high-end cars. Like, these cars are fun, but they start kind of just like being more of just on the just being a car side, but it's like a little fun to it.
The crazy actually part to M3 is I didn't ever think I'd own an M3, but my younger brother, like, everything we do is together. Like everything is us, like me and my younger brother, like all the cars, obviously, like we're all about family.
Yeah.
And like, obviously everyone, my brother-in-law, my sister, so like Gabir, my sister, like my wife, right? All of us, my sister-in-law, parents, all of us, our partner Nash. It is that everyone I see as one family, right? And we're all one. But at the end of the day, like, I don't, I know it's just for the video, right? We're saying, okay, me, whatever. But this is all like us, like our family. There's all the things that we have as one. I'm a big believer of, doing things together as a family, right? So whatever, they achieve, like, or whatever I achieve, it's all one. Right?
Yeah.
And that's my life principle, that we are always achieving things together, and we're going to progress together. We're going to build together. When you do everything together, it always, in my opinion, goes a lot further, right? So this my younger brother, he wanted the M3. Even the GTR he built it to that whole whatever track craziness, right?
Yeah.
Thing is built, I think it's 2200 wheel horsepower.
Yeah.
So he was running in Texas for a while. He's the one that did the twin turbo build too on the R8. He's all about, he loves the thrill of speed.
Yeah.
I love cars. I love looking at cars. I love driving cars. Not crazy on the speed, about going crazy, with the track stuff. But I just appreciate all cars. It's not that I only appreciate anything high end. I appreciate everything. I sometimes drive and I see some stands out cars, modded, like, some super clean, like, S2000s or like a lot of the times, sometimes I just look and see at how well maintained even some of the cars are. Like, I appreciate every car, anything that looks good. That's why, a lot of times I'll go to like the meets and I'm checking out, one time I had a guy say to me, he's like, bro, why are you looking at my IS? He's like, you have a look at these cars. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I love cars. I appreciate every single, and I know, because
you started with the G35, the
yes.
G37s,
Yeah, so when you see the passion that people have for cars, you appreciate it. I appreciate all those builds. Recently, actually, been looking at a lot of these classic cars and a lot of the classic Camaros, and right. I think I really gotta find one soon, eventually. But yeah, I love cars all around. I love every type of car, and I appreciate every single car. So it's not that I'm limited to, we're just going left, but it's not that I'm limited to just this, high end whatever market. I love all cars, right?
Okay, so like I said, that Aman has like all types of cars. Like, you know, we just drove here in the M3. We drove the Ford GT, the SVJ. There was the twin turbo R8 that was in the garage. But this, if you just look at it from far, it looks like a regular GTR, but it's very far from it. So do you want to tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, so right now it's close to about 20, let's just say 2,000 plus wheel horsepower.
Yeah.
It was built by Shop Houston in Texas. It sat there a couple of years because my younger brother, he's really for speed, performance, whatever, right? I don't know too particular. I know it's a larger motor, everything. It's got full parachute, and it's actually still a full street car. So it's got everything, AC, the seats.
Everything's functional.
Yeah, it's not like there's no weight reduction done here. It's got everything still. So functioning AC, and believe it or not, he's actually driven on the street too.
That's crazy, because look at these tires. That's the biggest signs that this car is not a normal GTR, I guess, are the tires. And the fact that there's a parachute in the back. I don't think your average sports car is going to have a parachute.
Yeah, it ran a low 7 at TX2K as well. Ooh. Yeah. I don't know exact numbers, but it's on there. Like, you see it online, but he's going to send it back to Texas to get it all done, or whatever he's doing to it. I don't know. Yeah. But he's really for this. Yeah, but it's got, like, the latch parachute and in the back there, you see everything. Got a crazy big extinguisher in the back, too.
You know, it's crazy when you have a Ford GT and SVJ. You're talking about buying more hypercars, and they're not even close to being the fastest car you have.
Yeah. This thing is like nuts. When this thing starts, obviously the key he has on him, but when this thing starts, it will shake your heart. Right? It's ridiculously loud.
One day I'll talk to him. Maybe I'll go out in it.
You go for a spin in this thing. I kid you not. You'll leave the car like literally with a crazy adrenaline rush.
The only other car in this caliber that I've been in is remember the Liquid Assets twin turbo Gallardo?
Yeah.
You know, that thing, you get to 330 kilometers an hour in like one gear in like 6 seconds. And this is definitely more newer technology. That one's a gated manual, so you can only shift as fast as you can.
Yeah.
This is a little bit different.
I drove this on the street. He was like, he pushed me into like, no, I don't want to drive this thing because just, in my opinion, the thing's crazy.
Yeah.
And I drove him, my hands were sweating, and like, I drive everything, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's something else. It's something, you wonder like why so much money went into it. And it kind of the same thing makes it makes sense when you're in the driver's seat and you get a chance to drive this thing, you're like, holy crap. And same thing, no exhaust, a straight pipe too. And so
it sounds crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, you know what, Aman? Thank you so much for taking us around today.
Yeah.
Talking to us. We'll do this a lot more.
100%. Roy's been, like I said, like, I'm just joking. But yeah, I've known Roy for 11, almost 12 years.
Yeah.
And Roy knows sometimes I troll him a little bit, but
yeah, I'm sure we'll do a lot more stuff in the near future.
100%.